Hello students of class 11. I am Indrani ma'am and I will be teaching you biology for class 11. Before starting a new chapter, today I will tell you about the marks distribution which you are having this time, because you know 30% of your syllabus has been decreased by the CBSE board due to the COVID-19 situation. So you are not having all the chapters whatever is there in your syllabus, and the marks distribution has also been changed. So from unit 1 diversity in living organisms, you will be having 15 marks questions. Unit 2 cell structural organization in plants and animals will carry 8 marks. Cell structure and function unit will carry 15 marks. From unit 4 plant physiology, you will be having 15 marks, and human physiology portion will be having 17 marks. So this will make up 70 marks total, and 30 marks will be there for your practicals. So I hope everyone is fit and fine in your home and you are safe and studying properly. So based on this note, let us start our first chapter today, that is the living world. Now living beings, you know who are known as the living beings. Living beings are called organisms. Why? Because they show a characteristic level of growth. Now in this chapter, we will know about the characteristics of the living organisms, their diversity among the living organisms, and different types of characteristics and features of the organisms. Now there are certain characteristics which is exhibited by living organisms which distinguish them from non-living organisms. From your childhood you have been learning the difference between living and non-living. Now all living organisms grow. Growth, what is growth? Growth is defined as the irreversible increase in the mass or overall size of an organism or its parts, right? So that is growth. So two types of synthesis or two types of deposition of substances may take place. One is the protoplasmic substance, another is the apoplasmic substance. Protoplasmic substances deposition. So what are these protoplasmic substances? These protoplasmic substances are the living substance like the nucleus, cytoplasm, etc., which is getting constantly deposited within the body and which is resulting in the growth. Another is the apoplasmic substances. These are the these are the non-living substances which is secreted by the living cells like the matrix and fibers in the connective tissues. So these are the substances which is helping in the growth of the organism. Apart from that, the living organism and the non-living organisms can be divided based on their, can be differentiated based on their form and size, based on their body organization, their body metabolism, their reproduction process, their response to stimuli, their adaptation to the environment. Based on this living and the non-living organisms can be divided into. Okay, now what is biological organization? The organization of the living beings at the submicroscopic level or at the molecular level of the organization, through microscopic level or the tissue level, that is reaching the macroscopic level or that is reaching the organismic level. This is known as the organization or biological organization of the living beings. Now what is metabolism? The sum total of all the chemical reactions which is occurring in the living organism is called metabolism. Okay, what is adaptation? Adaptation is defined as the structural, physiological or behavioral characteristics of an organism which is enhancing its chances of survival and its ability to reproduce in the environment. That is known as adaptation. Different organisms are adapted to different type of climatic conditions. Some you will find in the cold countries, that organisms can't be found in the humid or the warm regions, and the vice versa. So their body is adjusted to that type of climatic condition. The area where the polar bear lives, we can't go and live in that type of regions. Yes, and this adaptation is helping in the evolution of the organisms. Now what is homeostasis? The capacity of the living organism to maintain a steady internal environment within the body is called homeostasis. Okay, And what do you mean by antagonism? When two reactions or two movements are occurring in the opposite direction, they are said to exhibit antagonism. Okay. Now you know what is death. It's a biological event which occurs due to permanent breakdown in the functions of the body, or which is occurring due to lack of oxygen in the body. So as a result, death is taking place. And in recent times there has been shift in the approach of the study of the organism from the traditional morphology level, anatomy, cell biology to molecular level. So here the advancement of biology is taking place, and this is resulting in the growth of the sections of biology. Next you have to know how are the energy expressed in the living organism. What is activation energy? The energy which is needed to destabilize the chemical bond and to initiate a chemical reaction in the body is known as the activation energy. Okay, so two types of reactions are taking place. One is exergonic reaction, another is the endergonic reaction. What is exergonic reaction? The energy yielding chemical reaction which is taking place within the body, that is known as exergonic reactions. Okay, and the chemical reaction which is requiring the input of energy from outside source, that is known as endergonic reaction. Understood? Now you have to know the biological classification of the organism. Classification, what is classification? It is the art of identifying the distinctions among organisms and placing them into groups that reflect their most significant features and relationships. So what is the purpose of biological classification? Is to organize the vast number of known organisms into categories that could be named, remembered and studied very easily. Suppose in your regional language you are naming one organism, but that term will not be accepted by the person who is staying in Russia. Why? Because your language is different from theirs. Now what you are talking about can't be understood by the people who are living in some different regions of the world. How they will be able to know? So for that reason, classification of the organism is essential. Now what are the functions of biological classification? To recognize and describe recognize and describe as completely as possible we have to do, and the basic taxonomic units of the species, and a device, a way to find out a way of grouping these units on the basis of their similarities and their relationship. Now there is a great advantage of this process of classification. It makes what are the advantages? It makes the study of the wide variety of the organisms very easy, systematic and scientific and convenient. It becomes very easy to identify the organism and also to recognize those organisms which have already been classified, and to study one or more representative of every group will give them the idea of the other forms in that group which is not possible to study individually. It becomes easy to understand and find out the interrelationship between different organisms and different groups of organisms. The evolutionary trend among the organisms can be easily reflected, and the scientists can enable to interpret the structure of different types of fossil organisms even by this type of classification. So the person in one corner of the world and the person who is there in the other corner of the world, it becomes very easy for them to understand what you are talking about. So for this reason, biological classification is very much important. Another thing is the nomenclature. What is nomenclature? Nomenclature refers to assigning of the names of the organism. Names, it will be based on certain observable or morphological distinct characteristics. It will be having the similarities with the already known organism. All will be grouped together in different organisms. Understood? So if you are having a group of the tigers, all the organisms who fall under the group of the tigers will be classified and will be kept under the group of the tigers. Like you are managing a file in your home. You are making one for personal file, one for school record file, and another for some other record file. So there you are maintaining a file for different types of records. In the same manner, those observable characteristics which is common to all the organisms will be grouped in a different record. So for this nomenclature, basically the binomial nomenclature method is followed. Carolus Linnaeus in 1758, he introduced this binomial system of nomenclature. Here what happens, every organism is given a scientific name which has two parts. The first part is known as the generic name or genus, and the second part is known as the specific name or species. Suppose you know what is the scientific name of human being. What is the scientific name of human being? Yes, Homo sapiens. So if you think about Homo sapiens, if you say Homo sapiens to a person who does not know English, man, then that person can easily understand that okay, you are talking about man. So it becomes very easy for the scientist to understand. Now what are the basic principles of nomenclature? There are different principles or rules of nomenclature which should be followed. I can't give any name to any organism. The scientific names, basically these are generally in Latin or these are derived from Latin. It does not see what is the origin. And the scientific names are always written in italics or it is underlined. The first word will denote the name of the genus and the second word will denote the name of the species. The generic name always will start with a capital letter, while the name of the species will always be written with a small letter. If the name of the author is written in abbreviated form or full form after the species name, then this will indicate that the species was first discovered or was first described by that name of the scientist. When the scientific name is changed for some reason, the original author's name is given in parentheses. Okay, now this is all about the nomenclature of the organism. Till this much today. Read till this much. We will continue the remaining portion in our next class. Thank you.